Hello, welcome back. Last time I solved my own puzzle and debugged it and stuff, and it was a whole lot of fun. I was actually real happy with how this turned out. So happy, in fact, that I wanted to tweak around with it a little bit more, and did manage to get further improvements. So if you're still trying to solve this puzzle, skip the next minute or so of video, because I'm going to show what I did here. So anyway, this was my initial solution. It had this little helper for the multiplication operation that I never liked very much. Everything else about this was pretty good. During the alternate episode, I had the idea to minimize the instructions in here a bit, which worked great. It reduced power by a lot, and lines by a few. Then I had this idea that I could maybe eliminate it entirely, and I did find a way to do that. With the way that the numbers work out, the only time I ever get a third digit, like for my DGT2 to do anything, is if it's 10 times 10, or 10 times negative 10, or negative 10 times negative 10. And as it happens, those will always give me just either a 1 or a... Well, yeah, this will always give me a 1 or a 0. So I realized I could actually store the state of this, instead of in an extra register up here, just in the enable and disable line, so in a conditional in this microcontroller. So instead of sending it off here, I do a TCP on it, then I go about my business, do the DGT1, and if it was less than 0, I sub 10, if it was more than 0, I add 10. So I just store the state of that here. This would not work if numbers could get larger than 200, or larger than 199, or smaller than negative 199 after multiplication. But in all other cases, it would work fine. So anyway, yeah, so this just eliminates the need for that, which is great. And I realized another thing that I could do. There's a little difference over here. A lot of my power was going toward, let's see, how does this one actually look? So this takes the incoming radio value and puts it into DAT, then tests if it's a negative 999 and jumps to wait if it is, then does the rest of it and moves DAT to here. I realized I could, since there are a bunch of, most of the time units don't involve actually doing an operation, I could save some power by making it as fast as possible to get out of the loop if it is negative 999. So I do a TCP here without storing this in DAT at all. Jump to wait, etc. And then just separate instructions here. So right, if it is 1 with a TCP 1, then I move 1 to DAT. If it's 2, then I have this plus. So I have all 3 branches of the TCP here. So yeah, by just reconstituting DAT on the few time slices where I am doing an operation, I save some time on the majority of them where I'm not. And it works great. So this is about as optimized. I looked over the rest of this and did not see any other opportunities for optimization. This is the best I feel like it's going to get with this design. So if you want to do better than me, you're going to have to come up with another design. I hope someone else tries this puzzle and shares the solution with me. That would be a whole lot of fun. It's fine if you don't, though. I had fun on my own. I do really love that this game actually encourages me, as part of the normal game progression, to make my own puzzle. What would be amazing is if this were taken just one step further and there were an online repository of puzzles, and I was encouraged to upload to that. Because that would just ensure that a game like this would get a whole bunch of extra cool user-generated stuff afterward. I like it. I feel like more games should do that. Anyway, so there's this, and there's the puzzle vault, and that's basically it. I have a big pile of footage of attempting this once that I guess I'm not going to show. Which of these do I choose? This is a little too freeform. I want to do this at some point. I think I want to chip away at this a little bit. Alright, so I didn't have a lot of recording time today, so I'm just going to try and do a little bit of this. Let's look at the ruins of what I attempted once. I don't think anybody needs to see the 2.5 hours of basically getting nowhere here. I've forgotten a lot since it's been like a week since I looked at this, so let's look at it again. Dr. Sumura has been working on the design of a printable lattice for neural processing units that weaves a growth medium around a nanoscale trellis-like structure. We now need to devise a process to produce them, which is where you come in. Let me know as soon as the device is ready so we can put these into manufacturing immediately. Okay, right, so brick wall. I ran into a problem there. Let's just make it, no, not a copy. Just make a new design so we can just look at the boards. Data is an X-bus input connected to a computer. Motor X and motor Y are simple outputs connected to precision motors. So they control this little printy dude. Valve alpha, valve beta, and valve theta are simple outputs connected to a fluid printhead. There are two types of data packets that may be received: a 6-value packet that describes a 6x6 structured print, or a 1-value packet containing only a -1 that instructs the printer to reset the printhead position. So I'm either printing a pattern or resetting for the next print. A reset packet will never arrive while a print job is in progress. Control motor X to move the printhead right 100 and left 0. So this is motor control. We're familiar with this from Harvest Time and other places. Motor Y, 100 and 0, up and down. Valve alpha, valve beta, and valve theta to extrude the different scaffold materials. Look in the supplemental data section of the manual to find a document from Lisa explaining cellulose scaffold patterns. That's my file system. I want my manual. What the heck are you doing there? Go away. Okay, so this is not where I want to be. I want to be all the way down here, all the way down here. Alright, so here's why this puzzle is tough. There's been considerable interest in creating lattice-like structures to facilitate the growth of cells in various types in highly ordered configurations. In particular, one exciting potential use of such a structure would be to harness the computational power of neurons. In this paper, we present a method for quickly and inexpensively creating lattices suitable for neuron growth by depositing layers of substrate in predefined patterns. Mass-produced lattices could have considerable utility in computational neuroscience and beyond. Our approach centers around the use of 3 main substrates: alpha MSH, beta P2, and theta Hg. These substrates are indexed for easy translation into sheets of patterns of 6 cells each, Fig 1. Because of the modularity of the substrate, a surprisingly small number of predefined patterns can be used to create a wide range of possible substrate designs, making them well suited to both research and commercial applications. Quality tests indicate that the resulting substrates are comparable to those created by previously described methods. 4 and 5. Master scaffold layer templates. The cell-based printer assembles scaffolds in 6x6 chunks from bottom to top. By using the printer to create patterns up to 6 layers deep, scaffolds can be assembled and then delivered to the culture lab for neuron growth. So we're making a 3D printer here. 146600. So 1 is a bunch of nothing. No, it goes bottom to top, right. So 1 is a bunch of alpha. 4 is theta alpha alpha theta alpha theta. This one, etc. So you can see how this works. So basically this is my data that I have to select from and send to the printer. Here's the thing. Printhead starts... So yeah, let's say we're printing this pattern. So I'd look up pattern 1, all alphas. Start here, alpha 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 alpha. Printhead then moves up here. Yeah, right, so motor X goes forward, motor Y goes forward 1, then motor X goes backward. This does a back and forth motion, necessitating that I reverse the order of every other row. And that is non-trivial because just storing... Okay, so let's look at the attempt that I made now. Brick wall. Missing, resetting 0 to 18, 0 to 18. So this is a big mess where things just did not fit. What even is this? Got some wonderful comments to myself here. Okay, so this is a motor controller. Actually, this controls both the motors, and I think does a pretty good job of it. This may be a salvageable piece. Okay, so let's see what this does. So move... Oh wait, no, hang on, I have actually better than this. Okay, so... Yeah, let's start with the motor control. These go in a predictable pattern. So these instructions come in. I need to look up some kind of thing that I print based on the numbers. Regardless of that, though, the print head will be moving in the exact same pattern. 6 to the right, up 1. 6 to the left, up 1. Well, I guess it's 5 to the right, up 1. 5 to the left, up 1. Conveniently, the test data expects motor Y to go up one extra so that reset can simply be 6 down without touching motor X. So I think this fully implements that. So 50 is the neutral value for P0, which is motor Y, and P1, which is motor X. Wait for a signal. If it's -1, then we gen P1 06. Well, that's obviously wrong. My pins are reversed. Oh yeah, I was doing... Right, my pins are reversed because I was attempting to... Okay, let's not do that. Let me not modify this. Let's just pretend P0 is X and P1 is Y. There's an annoying little layout snarl here. Here, let me go actually just here. So we got valve alpha, valve beta, valve theta. Those just need to be controlled with 0 or 100. They're in this layout. It looks real convenient to put a DX300 here. And that feels like it makes a lot of sense. What's annoying about that is what that does to the layout of this. So I wanted to control this with an MC6000. Yeah, you can connect motor X, but motor Y has literally nowhere to go. Move that left one. Can put that in there. Motor Y still has literally nowhere to go. You can move that left one more. Motor Y still can't escape except through here, but it can't if I want to connect anything to this, which I do, because then that would overlap with something else. So I have to put this all the way down here just to get... Why did I do that silly wiring thing over here? Oh, so I could get X3 in the picture, but that doesn't help. I can just... Okay. Wait, no, I can't... Okay, never mind. That had a purpose. Anyway, so that layout was super annoying. I never liked where I had to put this thing. So back here and where I ran into a brick wall, I had somebody connected to the DX300. Right, so this is nozzle control. So you wait for a message, move it into ACK, move back to X2. So I guess that's a message to the motor control. And then if it's not reset... Sorry, I didn't finish going over my motor control. So if it is reset, right, yeah, so pretend P1 is motor Y. Gen P1 06, so 100 for 0 ticks, 0 for 6 ticks, and then reset it to 50. So that's how I reset, and go backward from there. If it's not -1, then the best it seemed like I could do here was that this would have to receive 3 separate messages, because one message to this will go right, up, left, up. Then that'll have to happen twice more for the full print to happen. So 5 100s, 0 zeros. The 0 turns back into a 50 there. Then the y-axis moves, then the x-axis moves backward. Yeah, 0 5 instead of 5 0. 50 P0, P1 1 0. Yeah, so you send this a message that's not -1 and it'll move to the right, move up, move to the left, move up. So the idea is this would be coordinated alongside this for the patterns. So this one would get fed the output to the DX300 to extrude its things. Okay, sure, that's all fine so far, kinda. Again, I hate this layout. This goes way down here and wastes a lot of space. I don't know what the rest of this is. Sleep 1, sub 1, X3. Okay, so it looks like this was using a 100p14. Yeah, okay, so reversal. How do you reverse data in this language? I was going to do it by taking... So this is a data store that expresses the... Which rows? Probably 3, 4, 5, and 6, I think. Yeah, I think I have 3, 4, 5, and 6 in here. Yeah, pretty sure that is. So those are the DX300 patterns that need to go out here to print those. The idea was that this is a bank selector. I sent something to it that says which column. Actually, I might just set the address myself. No, let's see. So this sends something to it that gets set to the address line of both of those. Those are just wired together. Then bank selection determines which of these two it reads from. So basically I send two numbers that determine which of those I'm going to get. And then it just sends it back. The idea was then going to be that I could write the output of that to this in either order, either forward or backward. I didn't find a way to do that though. This couldn't become an MC6000 because of pin layout, because that one has a simple pin something somewhere. Reset A0 to 0. This A0? No, probably this A0. Data 7 and 8, forwarding -1. Yeah, so notice that I only have 4 rows out of 9 represented here in the data though. And this whole data store already takes up this much space. Like that's how much it took up for 4 rows. I had chosen those 4 because this one's the same forward and backward. Actually, all 3 of these are the same forward and backward, so I think I can cheat and special case 0, 1, and 2, and it's no problem. I wouldn't have to do any reversal. I just have to know which one I'm outputting and do 6 of the same number for that. So that's fine. 7 and 8 only have 1 bit of data in them at one spot or the other. Those are much harder to special case than this. They would have to be reversed, but it could be done. But then these are all more complicated patterns that I think need to be specifically stored as data in this. So anyway, if it takes this much space to store 4 rows, then I want to do as much as I can to not have to put in, even if I put in 2 more of these, they would not cover all the cases, and I'd have all the I/O nightmares of getting the data to actually go somewhere. I think the real problem I had here, let's see, this was supposed to, okay, let me see if I can start from here. Okay, so SLX X0, this is a blocking XBus input. I move X0 to dat. So this doesn't run, by the way. Does it? It tries to, but then part not sleeping. Right, okay, this is just unfinished. So I just completely ran out of space here because this needs to do something. I don't even know what this was supposed to be anymore. TGT2. Okay, right, yeah, so if it's in here, shouldn't that be shouldn't that be minus? I don't know. TCP-X01. Yeah, TCP-X0, that'd have to be DAT, probably. Move 100 DAT. Move 0 DAT, move 10 DAT. Okay, yeah, so this is where I'm special casing the first 3. So this is supposed to be DAT here. Move 6 ACK, loop, move DAT X3, sub 1, taking. Oof. So this attempts to do something. I think it sends. What does this controller do? There's this extra little notch here just so I can like get a wire right in there. It's not really convenient. It'd be better if just like these cutouts weren't here, but they are. Okay, so this expands 3, 4, 5, and 6 into instructions for bank selection here. Yeah, so actually, the space taken up by that is all of this. Given the shape and size of that, it's impossible to fit a second one of these on the board. There's just no way you could do it. So right, if it's a 3 or a 5, then I want my address to be 0, otherwise I want it to be 7. So that selects the column, and again, these address lines are wired together, so I select the address in both at once. Then if it's a 5, I guess I want this if it's a 5, and this if it's something else. Oh no, if it's 3 or 4, if it's less than 5. So if it's 3 or 4, I do this one, which with with whichever column I selected. And if it's 5 or 6, I want this one. So yeah, there's a bank selector controller. This is bank selector. This is pretty self-explanatory mostly. Move 12 ACK, loop move 0, 2, yeah. So this requests data, this fiddles with stuff and gets you data. So that gets you one row in forward order. Then the idea with this, which again, I couldn't replace with an MC6000. The idea was that this was supposed to be able to read that data incoming and write it either in forward or reverse order, but that was just impossible to fit into this instruction space. I spent so long staring at this to figure out a way to do that, and it just, there is no way. It cannot be done, and that's where I stopped. And also, right, there's a bunch of -1 forwarding that has to happen. This doesn't even care about -1s. So that's the nightmare as it stood here. I did a little bit of work, I think this one wasn't even recorded. I did a little bit of work to try and minimize the MC6000 that controls the motors into one thing. I have 2 attempts here? Why are these different? Yeah, I think this one actually worked. 50p0. Yeah, that's right. I was trying to do so much trickery here to share the move 50p0 and move 50p1. Because like this leads straight into a conditional without a test. That test is from nowhere. There were no tests in here. Yeah, so this one just failed. But I think I did figure out a way to write this code. Yeah, so this is a minimized printhead controller that opens up some space on the board, I think, but has like other requirements for what it had to do to actually run, I think. Okay, so move 50p1 here, right? So this, yeah, so this will match the curves of motor X and motor Y for at least some of this puzzle. Not the nozzles or anything, valves, whatever, but at least it does do the motors. So 50, weight moves 50 P0. Alright, P0 is motor Y. Then I wait for a message. So this waits 1. Yeah, this is just raw data being fed to this, just to control it and match that pattern. I do have a -1 in there, cool. Okay, so move 5 X3. Move X0 ACK. Tech ACK -1. Yeah, so that's that way. If it gets a -1, it can reset. Otherwise, it takes that value that was moved to it alongside the next value that's written and generates that on the motor. Sleep 6. What I don't like about this is while it compacts this controller, it means it's a lot needier. It has to be fed data in a very specific way. So that basically just moves some stuff out of here into whatever talks to it. This might be strictly worse. So anyway, yeah, that those alternating Gen P1 50 and Gen P1 05s are replaced with the input selecting those numbers. So this time it's 50. And then it moves 50 to P1 and moves the printhead Y. Right? So then we do 0 and 5 here. And like it does match the curves of that, which is cool and all, but like this is all real expensive. Oh, and I guess it's right. Yeah, that was a reset command, a little earlier than reset is requested there. But yeah, it takes. That makes the thing really needy. So I think what's going to be necessary for solving this puzzle is going to be to do things very much piecewise. So here is a design that I have that has an MC4000 controller for the motors. It's very needy, but it is an MC4000 and fits in that much space. So like, what this would look like, yeah, so this would just look like that much space on the board. That's a lot nicer, yes, than this much space on the board. It opens up some room for additional microcontrollers to be placed, but I think the neediness of it might erase that benefit and maybe even worse. So maybe I should work on trying to minimize what's fed to it. See how compact I can get that to be. So other pieces I think I could work on in isolation are... so this was a mistake, having this 100p14 here that I figured I'd be able to write to in forward or reverse order. Well, I'm not completely convinced. I think it might be. One thing I want to try is re-implementing this bank switching controller to be able to read in either direction, because that's the other place where I could do this. I could either read backward, or I could write backward after I've read this forward. I guess what that would look like is you would become an MC6000. You would... You would what? Okay, so you would what? So erase everything that's not... Yeah, all of you go away, all of you go away, all of you, all of you, all of you. Even you. Shoo, 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 shoo. Everybody go away. Yeah, so that's your outside world pin. So... You would what? What would you do? You'd have more instructions for that, sure. P1 would have to be dodged like this. So you take up a little more space, but I'm only putting one of these on the board. So with 5 more instructions. Can I do a reversing read? I mean, the answer is obviously no, but what if I tried? Okay, yeah, so you keep this in. Let's make this dat. I do have to do the conditional every time I read something to know which pin to read from. That's fine. That way I don't have to, well, that's just the only way to do it. Okay, so if... So this just moves x0. Okay, so if... let's see, x2, is that the address line? It is. Take x2, 6. Right, if it's 6 or 13, then I've ended and I want to jump to loop. I think I can maybe use the -1 as a marker to know when I'm... Yeah, but where would I store that? Okay, well... So, let's pretend... No, maybe it's fine with the address line. So let's pretend that if ACK is... Alright, so this gets... This gets an ACK value for, no, that doesn't work. Could maybe use a simple pin for bank selection. Maybe that's the way to go. That'd kind of give me like a third register here. Yeah, okay, so let's say I'd use a simple pin for that. So dat remains... No, the simple pin decides which... I don't think it'd be a problem to keep that simple pin set while I return the data. P0, I guess. Simple pin decides which bank is selected. The address decides which column is selected. And then I have 2 registers where I can do some stuff. Okay, so let's say... I think I could maybe be crafty about this. Move x1 ACK. All the meta control logic for all of this stuff is going to be kind of huge, so like, I don't even know if this... Yeah, so my goal for today is just solely to write a reversing read controller and see how well that would work. So let me even just name this. This is still for only 4 rows. I'll still have to special case the easy ones and the hard ones, but maybe I can do that. Anyway, X1, X1, X2. I would still need the translator up here to feed this. It's... I don't know. This doesn't feel like it's going to a good place. Oh, what if I used another 100p14? Ooh. Or 200p14 rather, and that would have the... So yeah, maybe I could replace this translator with another one of these. That's kind of plausible. Ooh, and maybe another one for... So yeah, maybe just like go all in on the 200p14s. Another one for... what is this? This is nothing. Another one for this data. Yeah, this could read from... Ooh! I might even be able to... No, this can't connect directly to it. Okay, well that's fine. Anyway, I can minimize this code by reading these values from one of these. Okay, yeah. So, get a whole bunch of static data in here. Alright, so ideas are coming to me. That's good. But anyway, to reverse this. I'm thinking... what I would do... I wouldn't have ACK here even. Move X1, X2. Okay, so that's the... Sure, so let's pretend we're doing this. Why can I drag to here, but then not across this? I'm just not allowed to do that until I hide the thing. But I can put it behind everywhere else. And once it's out there, I can't drag behind that. That's so weird. There, I connected it. Anyway, yeah, so let's pretend that's communicating like that. So this sets the address. If I'm reading forward, I'd set it to 0 or 7. If I'm reading backward, I guess I would set it to 5 or 12? Then into dat, I would get either 0 or -2, and that'll determine how my address changes every loop, I think. Yeah, okay, so I would... actually, okay, so let's move this to ACK. Okay, so if that's not -1, then what I do is I move X2 to ACK. Oh shoot, well no, hang on, right, so that's, sure, so I write it out, then I'm going to destroy it. Back X1, so that's how I output. Move X2 ACK. Add dat. Move ACK X2. Jump loop. Okay. Still requires some babysitting. So it requires the simple pin to be set to 0 for X0 and something else for X3. Okay, that's not too unreasonable. So yeah, I would communicate this by setting the simple pin, sending it a starting address, and then an address offset for each read. Okay, that's reasonable enough. Okay, so that's the reversing read controller. Let's go ahead and just see that in action. Let's move Let's see, does this need to sleep in between? It might. Yeah, because these will have to be reported in turn for each iteration of that. That's fine. So here, let's say I want start at address 0, or actually, yeah, right, start at address 0, and I want to go forward. Right, I'm going to just get a look at the data that comes back to me. Here, I'll do this more efficient for loop that I figured out. So move x0 dat, that's all. Just read that. Oh, hang on. Before I do this, I need to set the... yeah, okay, so set the simple pin, tell it the starting address, tell it which bank, or no, tell it the offset. Alright, so all zeros should read from this in forward order, right? Oh, check it, I'm gonna do this thing. Alright, all zeros, forward order from first bank. Move 5 ac, move x0 dat, sleep 1. Take x0 minus... Okay, so then let's say I would read from this next column. So that's 700, and then that's 100, 170, and then for reversing, why doesn't this look right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right, okay. Let's do a reversing one. 000 710 05 negative 2. And then this is just nothing. Alright, so address 0. So move x0 ac. Okay, so we should get a 100, right? It's not negative 1, so it goes to x1. Oh wait, this is trying to write more things that... Oh, of x2 dat. That's not right. It's supposed to be x1. Okay. X0 dat, sure, okay. So here's a 100. Alright, I see that I got the 100. You know what, I'm going to do slightly better here. Let's actually write that out to a one of these. Which doesn't fit on the board. Fantastic. Yep, that's the experience of this puzzle. Nothing fits on the board. There's your data line. Sure, okay, I fit it. Instead of that, I'll just do x1. Alright, so this will write to that what comes out of there. Okay, so 100, 10, 100, 100. That didn't work. What happened? So you got a 100, sure, that makes sense. x2 into ac, that's 1. Add dat, it's 0. Move ac x2. Makes sense. Okay, you didn't change the address. Sleep 1, jump loop. Okay, so you read at 10, sure. Move ac x1. Sure, there's a 10. Yeah, I know that got written. Sure. Add dat, it's nothing. Move back x2. Sure. Keep the address the same. As a bonus, it's propagating this address from here to here. That's not a bonus. That doesn't even matter. So why does this suddenly go wrong? So here's a 100, and that makes sense. But then you got another 100 somehow. Why is that still 2? Oh, it's because both of these are connected. Both address lines are connected, so I can't actually read the address to do that. Gross. Okay, well, so instead, let's never read the address. Well, that means that I can't do that, because then I can't check for the -1 here. Because Ak and Dat would both be occupied. Great. Fantastic. Alright, well, I can't actually quite do this, because I would need one more line to also do the same thing with the other one. Actually, with XBus output, do I even guarantee that the address thing goes to the right place? I don't think I do. Doesn't just one or the other of these take the address? Yeah, okay, so that's a flaw anyway. I can't wire the address lines together. Oh. Oh no. So this is why this puzzle's a nightmare. This board is, like, microscopic for the amount of stuff that actually has to happen here. I don't know how I'm ever gonna get this puzzle done. Like, just doing any one step of the, like, 7-step process. 1 takes half the board, so I need 7 halves here, so the board needs to be 3.5 times larger. And 2, doing any one of those steps is a monumental task that I just barely even know how to approach. This puzzle is ridiculous. I feel like it's going to have to be something so specific, or I just spend, you know, days and days and days optimizing this and figuring out what I even need to do. Like, I just need to do some extremely aggressive size optimization here, or come up with a new approach that just doesn't take this much space somehow. Like, yeah, and now I've found my reward for that exercise. I didn't even see whether I had a reversing read operation, because I found there's a fundamental flaw here. This just literally does not work because of the 2 address lines. I cannot wire address lines together. Great! Love it! I'm like farther back than when I started. Alright, that's Scaffold Printer. See you next time for probably something else, or maybe I'll chip away at this some more, but wow, this puzzle sure is something.